Well, color me as surprised as anybody to talk about the WNBA again, 2 days in a row, through the weekend, because first of all, it's an incredibly slow news period. It just is. But secondly, I think I would anyway, because this is, as I've said before, such an incredibly stupid organization that cannot get out of its own way. There was some awesome stuff that happened over the weekend. You probably read. No, I thought it was great that a French trans player says he wants to play. That was great enough. We talked about that on Friday. But then it got better over the weekend. Two former actual NBA players have declared themselves eligible to play in the WNBA. Now, that's beautiful. But here's the real message, because the other story that happened with this ridiculous league is another one of their star players, the one that's been most in the news recently, just absolutely got attacked on the court. Not a normal foul, a clothesline kind of foul. And the response from the league was so incredibly tone deaf that it just deserves a response. But here's how you do it. Like with anybody, you, me, anybody else, you get if you are a star performer in any organization, anything, sports, sales, the law, entertainment, and you get treated by crap because of that, what do? You leave. And that's exactly what Caitlyn Clark and Sophie Cunningham should do, and let that stupid league wither away back to obscurity like it was before. That's what they should do. Anyway, we'll get to it. Again, it might be the last time we talk about the WNBA, but whatever. Let's get to it. Extra Fight of the Wicked Radio live stream and replay, X, YouTube, Facebook, full audio podcast after the live stream. Okay, let's get to the main deal and the main thing, what happened. I guess we'll kind of go in order of events. This was great. This was awesome. Like I said, on Friday we were talking about the French trans player who declared himself eligible to play. That was an awesome statement. That wasn't enough to get the WNBA to respond to anything, though. But this did, and I'll tell you how. This is great. Let's go to, and he's not the only one, Enes Freedom Cantor, former NBA player, a journeyman, played for a bunch of different teams, declaring himself eligible, and his reasoning is excellent. Went through the actual guidelines of what's required to be a player in the WNBA, and he says, hey, I meet them all, because this stupid league with the name woman in its name, can't define what a woman is. Anyway, this is his press conference, but he wasn't the only one. We'll get to the other guy here in a second, too.
After careful consideration and reviewing the current eligibility guidelines, I am officially declaring myself a WNBA prospect.
Yes.
If simply declaring who you are is all that's required, then I meet every single requirement necessary to compete in the WNBA. My team and I have carefully examined the WNBA's eligibility criteria and governing framework surrounding self-identification and inclusion.
I love that he fit inclusion in there. Enes Freedom Cantor. Good for him. Now, he's not the only one. There was also another. By the way, Enes is 6'10", 250. How's that going to go? Also, Royce White, another former NBA player, 6'8", 260. He's declaring himself eligible, too, and they're both getting a lot of press coverage on this on all networks, which has been interesting to see. So that was awesome. That was great to see. That's even better. I didn't think anything would be better than the French trans player who says, I can play. I want to play. That was great. But then I guess we'll take it in the timeline here. But then this is what really gets to it. This is how you respond to an organization that treats you like crap as a star player. And remember, keep in mind, this applies to anybody. This would be, sure, an athlete, but an entertainer, broadcaster, a lawyer. Let's say you're a lawyer, right? And you brought in the most cases. You won the most money for the firm. But because of that, because of jealousy, who you are, they treat you like absolute garbage. What would you do? You'd leave, you'd wiggle out of your contract, you'd leave, you're no compete, and you would start your own firm. That's how it happens. If you're a chef and you are a star chef and they love you, your clientele loves you, but they treat you like garbage time and time again, worse than the other chefs, what do? You leave and you start your own restaurant. This is how we've gotten some of our most famous chefs, just for an example. Well, if you're two star WNBA players, and because of your fame, I'll go ahead and say it, because of your racial makeup. Yep. Oh, yeah, I'm saying it. That's a factor, too. You are treated and allowed to be treated like garbage time and time again. What do? You leave. This is what Sophie Cunningham now and Caitlyn Clark should do. Leave, start your own little league, Do you know how big a little 3-on-3 tournament league would be for those two? How huge that would be for ratings? It would be massive. Leave and let that stupid organization wither away and die back into obscurity like it was before they came along. That's what they should do. And you're thinking, well, they have contracts. I wouldn't worry about that. I'm sure there are plenty of attorneys in this country who would love to make names for themselves who would be able to get them out of their ridiculous contracts, I'm sure. But anyway, here's the final nail in the coffin for that stupid league. So this is Sophie Cunningham, as we know, previously made headlines for daring to defend girls in sports and simply saying, and it had nothing to do with the WNBA, simply said, I don't think young girls should have to compete with boys. It's not fair. That's all she said. Oh, that was enough to create such a controversy. And then because of who she is and her notoriety, this is what happens over the weekend. She gets, I'm calling it attack time.
Face coming down, trying to prevent the layup, but that is just a hard hit. That's definitely going to be upgraded, I think, to a flagrant 2, Ryan.
I think that is going to be a flagrant 2.
Sorry for you audio-only listeners, and if you haven't seen the clip, she was absolutely clotheslined. That's not a normal basketball play. It's just not. And you're thinking, well, it happens all the time. We see that about a hard foul. No, that's not a hard foul. So the player that did it to her, Dejanay Carrington. That's right. You heard that right. Dejanay Carrington, a girl named after the combination of mustard and mayonnaise. Dejanay, this is what will tell you that it's not just a normal everyday foul. From the locker room, as they know, from the locker room, as she's ejected, takes the clip of that, because it was all over ESPN immediately, and posts under the caption, white privilege. Right. Yeah, that's just a normal foul. Yeah. White privilege because she got thrown out of the game after clotheslining Sophie Cunningham. Right. But it's a long pattern. If you're not aware, and I know that you're probably not, and like I said, I never expected to talk about the WNBA so much. There's a long history of this thing. It started with how they treat Caitlyn Clark, a star, the golden goose that has fallen in the lap of the WNBA, an absolute complete star that is allowed to not get special treatment, get special treatment the other way, where she's allowed to be absolutely attacked physically and through the press in the game afterwards. This is that same Sophie Cunningham talking about how she's treated time and time again in an earlier podcast interview, just to show you the background of this.
Well, so during real time last night, I did not see that happen. I don't, none of our team saw it happen, because I promise you if we would have seen that happen, we would have had her back. Unfortunately, this type of shit happens every single game to her, and the league and the refs do absolutely nothing about it.
It's been a minute.
That's months ago. It might have been from last season. I'm not too sure. It happens all the time. Why? Oh, it's just a hard foul. Younger players in the league, right. If you believe that, you really don't understand exactly what's happening here. Here's a defunct, idiotic league that is so pathetically afraid of offending the woke mob that they will not protect their star players simply because of exactly what Dejanay Carrington wrote and posted over the weekend. White privilege. That's what you have there. But it gets worse. You want proof? Imagine this. Here's your coach. Here's your coach after the game of the press conference with a couple of players, one of whom was Caitlyn Clark, defending the player that did it. If you don't understand that she is just absolutely captured and afraid of offending the woke mob, you don't understand anything. You got clotheslined. You have a bloody face after this entire thing. It's already come out that the player that did it is writing white privilege from the locker room. Here's your coach. Has your back? No, the exact opposite.
One of the things about Nay is that she's going to play her butt off, man. She's going to compete. Nobody's going to go walking in for a layup. And so I don't oppose the hard foul, but I also don't think that she intentionally went for the net.
I don't oppose the hard foul. No. Why is that? Because you're afraid. You're afraid of offending. You're afraid of becoming the story yourself. That's what's happening. And it's been happening, as everybody knows now, in the worst possible way. They always like to tell you for any sports league, it's like, well, bad publicity is great publicity, and they're still playing the highlights. Not this time. No. Because everybody is waking up to exactly what this is. It's an absolutely, completely ignorant sports league that is the worst run probably in the history of any league that's ever come into professional sports. It's a joke. A league that actually has women in its name in the WNBA, and they can't even figure that out. So they have all kinds of problems that they brought onto themselves. Now, the first piece of great news is this. Let's go back to Enos Freedom Cantor, 6'10", 250, and Royce White, 6'8", 260, former NBA players declaring themselves eligible for the WNBA. This is before the Sophie Cunningham incident. Here's the result of this. This is why you have to fight back against organizations in one way. I'll read the headline just to make sure I have it right. This is from Polymarket, who got a hold of this memo ahead of everybody else. And it turned out to be exactly right. WNBA commissioner announces the league is now meeting to review what a woman is. After former NBA stars announced plans to join the league. Well, we have a Supreme Court justice who couldn't define what a woman is. How are they expected to? They're in a pickle either way. You understand this, right? We should. If they come out and they come out with some sort of a statement where they actually have to put a think tank together and define what a woman is, then the woke mob is going to be even more upset with them. If they don't do it, then you've got the rest of the nation, which is 90% of us with common sense, that say, this is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous league that can't even figure out what a woman is. Then they're even worse off that way. They're in a pickle either way. But the bottom line of the takeaway, and this is what we can all learn from this, if you're a star player, and I know you are, in your organization, your school, your law firm, your restaurant, your company, your show, whatever you do in your life, and because of that, because of petty, rotten jealousy, you're treated like crap, what do? It's the natural order of life. What do? You leave and do your own thing. And my God, I hope Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark, and maybe there's another star or two, leave that stupid league and let it wither away and melt and just rot away into obscurity back to where it came from, back to where it was before they came along. That's what you do. That's the takeaway. That's how you deal with that crap. All right, let's get out of here. I'm fairly certain we won't be talking about the WNBA tomorrow. Sometime in the future when they come out with their what a woman is statement, I guess, but there'll be other things going on. But thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate you. Welcome to Monday. Make it a wicked awesome work week or whatever you got going on. I know a lot of kids are back to school, so be careful out there too on the roads, that's for sure. Thanks for finding the Wicked Radio live stream, the podcast, and replay on X and YouTube and Facebook, and clips of the show everywhere on those channels, plus TikTok, and the complete audio podcast of the entire show. Available right after I'm about to post that right now. What is a woman? All right, make it a wicked awesome Monday. I'll talk to you tomorrow.